We're going to do the medicine wheel in beautiful Snow Canyon State Park. And the horses are right over there. When I teach people the medicine wheel, we usually do it on horseback, and we take a little break, and we sit in the sand. You draw a circle and put a tic-tac-toe in it. And as I talk about each area, you're going to score yourself on a scale of 1 to 9. 1 being, I'm not very good at this, 9 being, I'm really good at this. And you can write your score in each box, or you can tally it as we go. You can do it however you want. I'm going to do this very quickly. So, first of all, we go PMS every month, but it doesn't have anything to do with that. It's just simply how we remember it. P is for physical, M is for mental, S is for spiritual, E is for emotional. So, on a scale of 1 to 9, how do you do with your body physically? Do you take care of it? Do you use it? Do you abuse it? Do you take good care of it? Give yourself a score, 1 to 9. Now, mental. How do you do taking care of your mind? Do you make good choices? Do you like to learn? Are you stagnant? Give yourself a score. S is for spiritual. How do you do living your religious beliefs? Depending on what those may be. Do you say one thing and do another? Do you live what you profess? So, if you are LDS, it's easy to say, do I live my baptismal covenants? Do I take Christ's name upon him? Am I a good representative? Do I keep his commandments? Do I always remember him? So that's an easy way. So score yourself on how you do living your religious beliefs. Now, we get down here to emotion. Don't score yourself yet. Women need to box up 90% of their emotions and throw them over that mountain. Yeah. We tend to be more emotional than we need to be. Now, if husbands are watching this, they go, yeah, that's right. But men need to box up 100% of their ego and throw it over the same stinking mountain. Now, really what this is about is men can be emotional, women can be egotistical. What you need to do is decide which area you need to work on most and score yourself on that. So, I'm not telling you what you are, you decide. All right, now we go back up to the top and we do the alphabet. There's A, B, C, D. We already have our E's, F, and I'm supposed to have another rock. This can be my other rock. 2 F's. Okay, A is for attitude. What kind of attitude do you have? Good, bad? Do you wake up in the morning and go, oh my gosh, it's going to be another bad day? Or do you go, wahoo, I get to get up? Or something like that. I'm sure I do that every morning.
I do that every day. Wahoo! Cute.
Oh, too many stories I could tell, but I won't tell. All right, so you've got attitude, score yourself on that. B is for behavior, and it's in the middle because everything else revolves around behavior. I like to call it integrity, but integrity, I, does not fit in the alphabet right there. So, behavior. Do you say what you mean? Do you mean what you say? Can people believe you? Or are you not very consistent? Now, I hope not too many people see this, because not very many people know this. When I was 13, I had a potty mouth, a bad potty mouth. And I was terrified that my parents would hear me talking in my sleep as I let something fly. Well, one time I was at a swimming party with a bunch of youth from our church, and one of my leaders heard me let something fly. And she came over to me privately and said, Patrice, I was so surprised to hear something so ugly come out of such a beautiful girl. And that changed my mouth ever after. You know, people now can't believe that. But I thought, you know what? A little bit of correction in the right way. You know, give some love. Say what and what you were surprised to hear, and things can change. Anyway, that's a side version of behavior. I was saying one language at home and a different language at school. And it can be what you dress like, what you act like, anyway, how's your behavior? C is for communication. My husband is almost perfect. He just can't read my mind. I don't know about men, but women sometimes think if he really loved me, he would know what I want for my birthday. If he cared at all, he would plan our date nights. And that's not fair because men do not read minds. So, how do you do communicating your feelings? It's easy to just talk, but when things are hard, are you willing to risk and share some of your feelings? Or do you let that clamp in your jaw, close it tight, and say, I don't want to talk about it? So, score yourself on communication. D is for discipline. Anything can become an addiction. How do you do keeping every aspect of your life tempered? My youngest son one time said, yeah, Mom, you're like addicted to the computer. This was when he was 6. I had to explain, I work on the computer. I don't play games on the computer. But the point was, he was understanding what I was talking about, and he thought that maybe I had an addiction to the computer. So score yourself on discipline. Do you keep your life disciplined? Okay, now we have emotion and ego. We've already done that. Now we go to the 2 F's, family and friends. When I take teenagers horseback riding, I tell them sometimes teenagers find it easier to be nice to their friends and not to their family, which is a little skewed. And I remind them that 5 years down the road, maybe 10, will those friends still be around? Probably not. But your family will be. So, but how do you do with your relationship with your family and with your friends? Do you love them? Do you honor them? Do you express that to them? Or do you use them? Do you abuse them? What are the relationships like with your family and friends? Okay, once you've done that, because there's 9 areas, you should have a score anywhere from 9 if you got a 1 in every area to 81 if you got a 9 in every area. Now your score isn't hugely important. It's just more of an accountability thing. Unless you do it with your spouse or significant other. Because if your score is within 5 points of each other, you'll have a great relationship. If it's 5 to 10 points away from each other, there will be things that you have to work out, but it's not impossible. 10 to 15 points apart, you will get into emotional abuse. 15 and more apart, you will get into physical abuse, and you should be running. So when I first did this with my husband, it took me a couple of years because I was afraid. Well, we have a good relationship, but what if our scores aren't close together? And so one evening we were out to dinner and I said, okay, let's do the medicine wheel. And so we did. We were 2 points away from each other. I knew we had a good relationship. Okay, so that's just kind of interesting to do. The beauty of the medicine wheel for an individual is that you can take one area out of all 9 and, you know, maybe it's your lowest score or something you feel like you really need work on, and work on it for 1 week and you can see improvement. I tell this story all the time. So when Kristy was 18 and we graduated from high school, she chose to go down to California and down to Disneyland for our family vacation. And we had a niece and nephew living with us at the time, so we had several kids in the van that we took down, drove down to California. So I gave everybody a piece of paper and a pencil. We did the medicine wheel driving down. And at the end I said, okay, pick one area to work on while we're on vacation. Well, fast forward a couple of days later, we're at Disneyland, standing in line, and I'm by Kristy's sister, Amelia, who's 16. And Amelia says, hey, Mom, I bet you don't know what I chose to work on. And I said, oh, yeah, I do. She says, no, you don't, like a true 16-year-old. And I said, yeah, I do. She said, what? What did I choose to work on? I said, you chose attitude. She goes, oh, how did you know? I said, are you kidding? You have been delightful, and you're usually a brat. And she knows I tell that story. I asked permission long ago, and she said, "Of course you can tell it, Mom." It was true. In 2 days, she had changed her attitude in such a noticeable way that I knew without being told what she was working on. And so, choose one area to work on and just spend a week and see how you do, if you improve. I had a teenage kid come writing who said communication was really bad. And so we talked about it, and he was talking to his dad all the way home to Salt Lake, and his dad texted me and wanted to know what I had done to make him talk. But the beauty of this is that if I say, "Kristy, you need to work on communication," you need to be better at communicating. Is she going to change? Probably not. But if Kristy says, "I'm not very good at this. I need to work on that. I'm going to work on that," then everything will change because she has identified what she needs to improve on. And so that's the beauty of the medicine wheel. Now, I'm going to do this really fast because there's a second layer that goes with the medicine wheel.
Can I ask a few questions first?
Oh, please do.
Okay. Some questions that have come from people as I've taught them what you've taught me. How many goals are too many to focus on at once from the medicine wheel? Should you be working on all 9 at once?
No. I would do one at a time, because I think what happens is, like anything else, if we get too diluted, we don't see our progress. But if you're working on attitude for a week, everybody sees your improvement.
Yeah.
And so I would only choose one.
How often should you do the medicine wheel?
As often as you need. I do it almost every day. I would have it somewhere. It's a great thing to do for family home evening, if you hold family home evening, because again, it gives kids skills to start identifying what's going on in them. And you can do it in a much more simplified way for young children. But so, Desmond, when you wake up in the morning, are you cranky or are you excited? Do you look forward to going to school, and helping them identify what's going on?
How would you explain this to kids or teenagers when you're going to teach it to them? How do you explain what you're doing? They're like, "Well, what are we doing?"
Sometimes I don't tell them a thing. Just watch and see. Sometimes I'll say, "Well, it kind of has to do with life skills. But it's really cool because I don't tell you anything. You have to decide what you do with it." And that's why, so where the medicine wheel, because I get asked this a lot, where did the medicine wheel come from? You can Google online Native American medicine wheel, and you will find just about every tribe has physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. But Grandpa Don, and people won't know who Grandpa Don is, but he's an adopted grandpa to our family who used to own all the horses. He taught Natalie the medicine wheel, and then he taught me the medicine wheel because I wanted to know what he was doing. And it's so powerful. Anyway, so did I get sidetracked?
Yeah. One last question though.
Okay.
What do you do with people who are really hard on themselves? Once in a while, I'll get somebody who's giving themselves 2s and 3s because they're not up to their own expectation. And it's something, I know it's not fair of me to observe that that's low, but I do observe it's low. So how do you help them recalibrate those scores?
Well, and that's the thing that's important, especially if you're dealing with a client or someone close to you, to say, let's do this out loud. Oh, so you gave yourself a 2 there. So say on attitude. Well, I see that most of the time you have a great attitude and you're cheerful. Okay, you have a day that you're down. Is that the norm or is that the exception? And so if that's the exception, I don't think 2 is a realistic number. I think a 7 is much more realistic. So sometimes people need to have feedback. And if they say, "No, you don't know my mind, I'm always this and always this," and So then you can help them reassess themselves. But so what I was going to, where I got sidetracked, Grandpa Don did the medicine wheel this way for his doctoral dissertation. And the thesis statement was how to counsel LDS people.
Oh.
And I thought that was really a narrow thing for his psychology degree. Anyway, but the more I've thought about it, because a lot of times in the LDS church, people are hard on themselves, demanding, expecting way more, and so they can get into some emotional struggles. The medicine will, and you can't tell them what to change. Nothing will change. But when they observe, oh, I need to do better at communicating, and then they will change. That's the beauty of the medicine wheel. Anyway, so can we go to the next level?
Second layer.
Okay. Affirmations. Affirmations are really important in so many different ways, and there's an affirmation for each area. And the way I'm going to go on this is kind of like a snake around like this. And I'm going to do it quickly. So, A, the attitude is, I am a winner. And you have to say it loud. Then the next one is, I make good choices. Because when you're a winner, you make good choices. C, communication. I am confident and enthusiastic. And I like to point out, think about the people you enjoy talking to. No, I don't know. Huh? I bet that's not the person you really like to talk to. People who are confident and enthusiastic are good communicators. So, okay, here comes our snake. Spiritual is, I am obedient. Behavior is, I do it now. Isn't that a great behavior when you don't put off, you don't procrastinate, you just take action now. I do it now. I am responsible. You are not a victim. It goes with physical because the emphasis is on the I. I am responsible. Nobody can make my decisions. I make my decisions. They can affect some of the circumstances, but I make my decisions. I am responsible. Okay, we get down here to discipline. I don't stop. I never give up. Then we get down to this one. I release all doubt and fear. When you think about emotion and ego, where does that come from? It comes from fear. I'm not good enough. Everybody's better than me. I don't have what it takes. I release all doubt and fear. And then we come down here. I am my own best friend, because truly, if you don't like yourself, how can you be a friend to anyone else? So, and Grandpa Don would pay the kids, the kids would say, I am my own best friend. Where's my quarter? He would pay them a quarter every time they would say all the affirmations, and I am my own best friend. Grandpa Don is my second best friend. That's what they would say. Anyway, and so, oh, I brought this because I was going to show. So, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah.
Those are all the affirmations, and I think Amelia did that up. Yeah. And so I just send it to Costco and have them printed out, and you keep it on your mirror, you keep it in your car, you keep it anywhere to remind you. And when you say those things, then pretty soon you don't need the card because they're just in your head. But this is the simplified version of the medicine wheel. Yep. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you have any more questions?
I think that covers most of the common ones. When is too soon to do this with a potential partner?
Oh, I take lots of people on dates. And yeah, I would say, well, I took a couple out one time. They were actually living together, and he basically refused to do the medicine wheel.
Oh.
He went about 25 yards away from where we were, so I just picked up my rocks and I went and sat by him. I just thought maybe he wanted to be in a different place, so I moved the medicine wheel, and we did it, and he was not happy. and it was a big indicator to his girlfriend. And they are no longer together. And she is happily married to a different guy. So it just, if there's somebody you're really interested in, say, you know, I just came across this. We should do it together. And you know what Dad and I did, my husband and I did that same night. We did the medicine wheel. After we had done it the first time, we did it a second time, scoring each other.
Oh.
Which gave us some really good observations of each other. It was just a really good thing. I would recommend, if you have a good relationship, if it's rocky, you may not want to do that. And so there's just, I love it. It's been a blessing to me, to my family, to everybody that I've taken riding, and that's a lot of people.
Yeah. We'll just give them a view of the park before we say goodbye. Any last thoughts?
We live in a beautiful place.
Yep. So this is Snow Canyon State Park. Our background of where we've lived for how many years? My whole life.
We've been here 32 years.
All right. Thank
great.
you.
You're welcome.